Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care. The alien planet was awash in colors that defied earthly imagination. Vibrant purples and brilliant blues dancing across the landscape. Moonlit wildlife flickered in bioluminescent hues as Evan, the human explorer, carefully maneuvered through an array of enormous, twisting flowers that swayed gently in the breeze. He had come to document the flora and fauna of the distant world, but he was already lost in the sheer beauty surrounding him. Suddenly, he found himself drawn to a particularly remarkable flower that shimmered like liquid gold. As he reached out tentatively, a strange rustle emerged from the bushes nearby. Before he could register the sound, a figure leaped out, a petite, strikingly beautiful alien girl with iridescent skin, her eyes wide as saucers filled with both fear and curiosity. "Stay back, human," she cried, brandishing a small but oddly menacing alien gadget, which was clearly not designed for intimidation. Evan raised his hands, confused, yet utterly fascinated. "I come in peace," he offered, though it came out a bit more like a question. The alien girl squinted at him, her vibrant purple hair glittering under the alien moonlight. "Peace? You think you can just roam my planet?" she demanded, taking an intimidating step forward that contrasted with the gracefulness in her demeanor. Evan couldn't help but chuckle at the ridiculousness of the situation, a human, an alien, and an over-the-top misunderstanding. As the alien flared her nostrils like an offended cat, he couldn't help but grin. "Look, I promise I won't mess with your flowers," he chuckled softly, trying to lighten the mood. She blinked, momentarily caught off guard by his casual tone, confusion flickering across her features. "What are you doing?" she asked, now staring at him with those bright eyes that seemed both innocent and fierce. "I just wanted to see your pretty flower up close," he admitted sheepishly. With a soft huff, she lowered her gadget, curiosity beginning to win over hostility. "Well, you certainly have a strange way of saying hello." Evan scratched his head, still enthralled by her presence. "So, what's your name, and how do you feel about humans interrupting your flower garden?" She blinked, her demeanor softening. "I am Zyla, and normally I'd find your intrusion intolerable. But today, you seem different." "Different how? Less of a threat?" Evan grinned, hoping to ease the tension. "More of a curiosity," Zyla replied, an intrigued expression crossing her face. "You humans are famously clumsy, aren't you?" "Hey, I prefer the term adventurous, thank you very much." They both laughed, the ice finally shattering. As they conversed, Zyla began to explain her culture. "We communicates through touch and colors. I can tell moods by the shades of your skin." She pointed to the shimmering patterns subtly rippling along her arms. "Wait, you can read emotions through skin?" Evan raised an eyebrow. "So what does your skin say about me now?" "It says," she leaned closer, studying him with gravity, "it says you're astonished and perhaps a little foolish." "Guilty as charged." He winked back, then ventured, "What about a handshake?" He extended his hand, expecting hesitation. Zyla's wide eyes showed uncertainty, but she placed her delicate palm against his. Electric warmth coursed through him, and he registered that her skin glowed a shade darker as they connected. "Wow, that's quite a reaction for a simple handshake," Evan joked, though he felt the tingle of anticipation beneath his skin. "Stop it," Zyla laughed, pulling her hand back as if burned, the blush on her cheeks glowing bright pink. "But it feels so good," Evan grinned, enjoying the banter that was becoming the heart of their interaction. "Don't go thinking you can read my mind just yet," she warned. But her playful smile said otherwise. With their laughter echoing through the alien forest, they unknowingly began an unlikely friendship, the human and the alien, with quirks and differences that were destined to either lead to catastrophe or connection. As their playful banter continued, Evan couldn't shake off the feeling that there was something deeper blossoming between them. They exchanged stories about their worlds, Zyla describing her sun-washed skies and intricate traditions, while Evan marveled at the beauty and quirks of Earth. It was during a particularly animated exchange about alien architecture that another unintentional clash of culture occurred. Zyla leaned closer, drawing nearer due to the excitement, and Evan, caught in awe of her expressions, stayed rooted in place. Brushing his hand against hers once again, he didn't consider the implications until he felt a surge of energy pulse between them. That simple touch ignited a reaction neither of them expected. "Whoa!" Zyla gasped, instant heat flushing through her features. "What is happening?" I don't know," Evan exclaimed, suddenly aware of how rapidly their heartbeats drummed in sync. He could see the glow in her cheeks intensifying. Instead of pulling away, they lingered, entranced by the rush of sensations. "Your skin, it's changing colors," she noted, wide-eyed, as his face grew warmer, his laughter turning into a nervous chuckle. "Am I affecting you?" "You could say that." Evan rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. "I didn't expect an alien to make my heart race like this." "That's unexpected," Zyla stammered, clearly torn between a mixture of delight and bewilderment. "Is this normal for your species?" he asked, curiosity bubbling inside him as he leaned closer, not wanting to miss a moment. "Normal? For who? Humans or Zillans?" she teased, but her tone held soft warmth. Evan cleared his throat, trying to regain composure. "Your body seems, well, responsive." "I think I'm having an emotional reaction," she admitted cautiously, the sincerity in her tone enchanting him. "And I've never had a reaction like this before." "Neither have I," he confessed, allowing the intimate atmosphere to seep into their conversation. "What do we do now?" she murmured, a hint of mischief playing in her eyes as if daring him to take the next step. Evan leaned in, a mixture of excitement and nervousness fluttering in his stomach. "Maybe we explore this reaction a little more?" Their laughter danced in the air, a spark igniting not just curiosity, but an undeniable chemistry that would fuel their journey through the unknown. The playful atmosphere grew heavier, laced with anticipation as Evan and Zyla continued to discover the boundaries of their connection. The tension was palpable, thrumming beneath their skin like a well-strung bow, ready to release. Evan cleared his throat, momentarily breaking the spell. "So what do your people normally do when they're overwhelmed?" Zyla glanced away, a shade of pink decorating her cheeks. "We usually seek comfort, but—" she hesitated, biting her lower lip. "Comfort can escalate." "Escalate?" Evan echoed, his heart racing not just from the proximity but the thrill of what her words suggested. Zyla shifted, her eyes suddenly serious. "I mean, if we let it, the burning sensation, the heightened emotions, it could lead to something more." "More? Like what?" he asked, feigning nonchalance but unable to keep the sparkle of curiosity from his voice. "More touching, possibly more intimate gestures," she admitted cautiously, her cheeks radiating warmth. "I've never experienced this with someone before." Evan felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with vulnerability at her bold confession. "Not even with other aliens?" "No, I'm not sure how to handle this. It's both thrilling and terrifying," she said, a mixture of honesty and determination in her voice. "But I can't deny that it feels good." Only silence hung in the air, and Evan's breath quickened. Slowly he reached out again, wanting to explore the chemistry vibrating between them. Zyla held her breath, their gaze locked. "Let's just take it slow then," he suggested, feeling the need to protect this fragile moment. "Taking it slow sounds good," Zyla agreed, her voice barely above a whisper. "But it doesn't mean I'm not burning up." Evan's heart raced, the mixture of humor and attraction pulling him deeper into unfamiliar territory. "Then maybe I should do something about that," he teased gently, inching closer and daring to brush a strand of her shimmering hair behind her ear. Zyla shivered, her breath hitching at the contact, revealing just how much she yearned for him. "Okay, but you have to promise not to blame me if this escalates," she winked, her playful disposition resurfacing. "I might just hold you to that," he chuckled, feeling the spark of something extraordinary, a burgeoning connection fueled by curiosity, laughter, and undeniable chemistry. Encouraged by Zyla's playful nod, Evan felt bolstered with a fiery determination to explore this intimate space they had created. "How about I teach you more about us humans, starting with our ways of communication?" he suggested, eager and ready. "Like what? Words?" Zyla replied, cocking an eyebrow. "I can already do that." "True, but there's so much more," Evan grinned, stepping back to compose himself theatrically. "Let's start with the simple stuff, how to hug it out." "Hug? Like an embrace?" The curiosity in her eyes was both thrilling and inviting. "Yep, it's comforting. Here, let me show you." He opened his arms wide, motioning for her to step closer. Hesitating, Zyla took a tentative step forward, but kept her hands at her sides, wonder filling her features. With a deep breath of reassured confidence, Evan gently closed the distance, wrapping his arms around her. Zyla tensed for a moment, then melted into his embrace, her entire body relaxing into the warmth. "See? Not so scary, right?" Nathan whispered, and Zyla murmured in response, her skin shifting to a soft shade of lavender. "Wow, it feels nice," she said, a note of astonishment woven through her voice. She reciprocated, tentatively putting her arms around him. "Exactly. Now we can communicate without words," Evan replied before feigning seriousness. "Just so you know, hugging is a gateway, a slippery slope, if you will." Zyla pulled back, her eyes narrowing playfully. "You humans really know how to play with fire, don't you?" "Only when it's with someone worth the risk," he countered cheekily. The chemistry between them seemingly sparked in the air, charged and electric. Taking a breath, Evan attempted another lesson. "Next up, holding hands." He reached out to grasp her wrist gently, guiding her towards him. Zyla's gaze flickered to his hand in surprise, but didn't pull away. "I already know how to hold things," she teased, although her voice betrayed her eagerness. "Not like this," he exclaimed, wrapping his fingers around hers. "Feel that?" Zyla's breath caught in her throat as her skin, once a delicate lavender, transitioned into a deeper hue. "Yes, I feel different," she confessed. "Good different, right?" Evan's voice dipped playfully, trying to gauge her reaction. "Undeniably good," Zyla echoed, gazing at their intertwined fingers as if it was an extraordinary phenomenon. "I told you, we are connected already," he mused, the playful tone punctuated with a sincerity that hung delicately in the air. "Okay, human, what's next on your cultural exchange?" "Well," Evan grinned, unable to hide the excitement in his voice, "there's a game on Earth called Simon Says, which will help us learn each other's reactions." "What are the rules?" Zyla asked, her expression a mix of curiosity and delight. "Pretty simple. I give a command and you follow it," he explained. "But if I don't say Simon Says, you don't follow." "Sounds amusing. Let's do this," she chimed, both eager and intrigued. Tension faded into laughter as they began playing, unknowingly deepening their bond amidst the games of touch and discovery. As they played their silly game of Simon Says, Evan couldn't help but develop a keener interest in Zyla's unique physiology. After giving her the command to touch her toes, which ended in fits of laughter when she fell over, he took a moment to address the intriguing differences between them. "So, tell me more about your body. It's fascinating," he said, genuinely curious. Zyla felt vulnerable yet flattered by his interest. "Okay, but you promise not to laugh too much," she warned playfully, a glimmer in her eye. "Deal," Evan grinned. "Let's hear it." "Well, for starters, my skin contains special chromatophores," she began, eagerly diving into the explanation. "They allow me to change colors and communicate my emotions visually. When I'm happy, I glow. When I'm embarrassed, I have a different hue." "Like a mood ring," Evan exclaimed, comprehension dawning upon him. "So right now you're absolutely glowing?" "Something like that. But if only you knew how wild this energy feels," she said, her voice teasing yet genuine. "Humans may express their excitement through touch, but us Zillans, it can get rather steamy." Evan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Steamy? Are you saying I might cause you to boil?" Zayla laughed, a melodious sound that echoed through the trees. "Only if you keep triggering my sentiments," she declared, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "But your touch is dizzying. I feel almost overwhelmed." "Hey, how do I know when I'm overwhelming you? That sounds dangerous." "Fear not. I can handle pretty much anything," she said confidently, brushing a hand through her hair. "Although it might lead to heightened reactions like this." Suddenly her cheeks flared a brilliant crimson, and Evan felt a tightening knot form in his stomach. "Wow, that does make communication much more interesting," he said, his heart racing. "And humans," Zyla continued, leaning in closer, "our heightened reactions can lead to heightened desires, if you know what I mean." The teasing smirk on her lips sent flurries of adrenaline through him. "Heightened desires? You sure know how to keep a conversation fascinating, he quipped back, unable to suppress his grin. Just wait until you see more, Zyla playfully challenged. But first, we have to learn more about you too. As their banter continued, Evan found himself captivated, not only by her enchanting allure, but also by the undeniable chemistry that felt stronger than gravity itself. After the laughter of their playful exploration, Evan felt a sudden surge of energy calling for spontaneity. All right, how about we take a break from all this talking and play a different kind of game? Something more active? What do you have in mind? Zyla questioned, a glint of mischief sparking in her striking eyes. Tag, he declared, excitement bubbling forth. We'll run through the flowers and play a game of chase. Zyla raised an eyebrow, looking skeptical yet intrigued. Tag? It sounds simple enough, but can we keep up? Challenge accepted, Evan smirked, then darted off into the field, not waiting for her response. He laughed outright, feeling like a kid as he traversed the vibrant terrain, the purple flowers flickering around him as vibrant, luminescent creatures buzzed nearby. She was faster than he anticipated. Moments later, Zyla was right at his heels, joyously laughing as her feet danced furiously in an attempt to catch him. Can't catch me, Zyla, he shouted back, filled with adrenaline as he twisted through the flowers, filled with a sense of freedom unlike any he felt back home. Oh, just wait, she exclaimed, her laughter ringing like music through the air. And then, with a burst of speed, she leapt, tackling him from behind before he could react. Oof, he grunted as they both tumbled to the ground. Gasping, they lay there, catching their breath amid a sea of colored petals, each still laughing uncontrollably. Not fair, you're like a ninja, Evan teased, looking up at her radiant face hovering above him. Just a quick Zillan maneuver, she grinned, playful mischief sparkling in her eyes. But be warned, next time, I won't be playing nice. Evan stared up at her, the playful spirit igniting a fire within him. Okay, you win this round. I always win, she giggled before climbing off him. Best 2 out of 3, he suggested, springing back to his feet. But next time I want a chance to retrieve some dignity. Deal, Zyla laughed, but his challenge merely fueled their competitive spirits. The next round had them darting through alien foliage, navigating twisting vines and bioluminescent shrubs. As the game progressed, their laughter echoed off the walls of dazzling alien flora, mixing with the exhilarating sensations of speed and connection. As they frolicked, Evan caught fleeting touches here and there, a hand brushing against her back, an accidental bump as they turned corners. Each contact sent jolts of electricity dancing through them, the air thick with unspoken words. Zyla, you have to admit, I'm getting better at this, he called out victoriously, as he rounded her effortlessly. Maybe you are, but you're still not fast enough. She launched herself at him again, all laughter and grace, igniting sparks of joy amid the wild flower-strewn terrain. Their playful pursuit turned into a picturesque scene, alive with light, life, and laughter, each touch initiating another wave of embers that glowed with each fleeting moment they shared. As the spirited game of tag faded into short breaths and laughter, both Evan and Zyla began to reflect on the unexpected feelings swirling between them. Moments of exhilaration transitioned into moments of introspection, leaving them breathless and a bit unsure. It's weird, isn't it? Zyla said, breaking the peaceful silence that enveloped them as they collapsed onto a grassy patch. One minute we're laughing and having fun, and the next, I'm feeling something deeper. I get it, Evan agreed, propping himself up on one elbow. The moonlight painted soft shadows across Zyla's face. It's like everything is amplified. Each moment feels more intense, more vivid. It's almost scary. Zyla half smiled, a touch of vulnerability surfacing. Exactly. I've never felt this way before. I don't know how to navigate it. Evan's brow furrowed, empathy taking root. It's like you're mesmerizing and terrifying all at once, he joked lightly to ease her tension. But maybe we just need to figure it out together. Together, she echoed softly, then turned serious. But what does that mean for us? We're from such different worlds. True, he admitted, but there was a spark of determination in his gaze. But every great story starts somewhere, right? We've got to embrace the differences. You're right, but I never thought I'd feel drawn to a human, Zyla responded, her gaze focusing on the horizon. How does that even make sense biologically? Does it have to make sense? Love is often irrational, he replied passionately. I mean, look at us. We're like two magnets drawn together. There's no denying this connection. As the words hung in the air, Zyla's heart raced at the prospect. But what happens when we return to our worlds? Will this feeling just evaporate? She fretted, her fingers tracing non-existent patterns in the grass. Evan dipped his head, a pained expression crossing his features. I don't want to think about that. The thought stung, but the possibility loomed heavy. What if our worlds collide in chaos? We might be risking everything. Or we could be creating something new, Zyla interjected, the slight flicker of hope igniting within her. But the unknown is scary, Evan. If I get too close, will it hurt? He turned serious, the softness of his voice contrasting with the intensity of their emotions. No one knows where this path leads. We could soar, or we might crash. It's all part of being bold. Zyla's eyes glimmered, reflecting the vulnerable honesty of their exchange. I like that answer, she admitted hesitantly. I do want to be bold, with you. As their eyes locked, the air thickened with unspoken promise. Each pulse of connection beat in tandem, drawing them closer together, yet the weight of their individual worlds lingered. It's almost like we need a map for this, she chuckled softly, trying to lighten the mood. Or maybe a user manual? True. Instructions for intergalactic dating would be a bestseller, he laughed. Or we could just stop overthinking it, Zyla mused, her voice growing earnest again. Simple plan. Let's take it one day at a time, Evan suggested, feeling the tension ease somewhat. Deal, she breathed, the spark in their exchange returning. Together, they understood the complexity of their connection. But a shared laughter and intertwined hopes ignited a warmth deeper than mere attraction. They were two souls destined to discover what lies beyond the stars. Just as their moment of clarity emerged, a sudden chill swept through the vibrant atmosphere, pulling Evan and Zyla out of their connection. The laughter faded as an ominous presence loomed over them, disrupting their peaceful bubble. No, it can't be, Zyla whispered, eyes darting to the darkness beyond the glimmering flowers. Emerging from the shadows was a menacing figure, cloaked in the ominous garb of intergalactic bounty hunters. They had a reputation, a fearsome group known for tracking down beings from various worlds for profit. Evan's heart sank as he recognized the insignia emblazoned on their chest. What do they want? He asked softly, panic rising within him. They're looking for you, human. You're not just any explorer. Your technology is highly sought after, Zyla replied grimly. A bounty? He gasped, feeling the weight of the galaxy pressing down. Exactly. We need to move, Zyla urged, her voice filled with urgency as she grabbed his hand, leading him farther into the depths of the flower patch. Together, they raced through the lush foliage, heartbeats pounding against their chests. Each footfall echoed with a racing pulse of fear, their earlier joy extinguished in the darkened shadow of danger. Do you have a plan? Evan panted, his voice strained. Just trust me, Zyla called back, determination firmly planted in her tone. She navigated seamlessly, darting down twists and turns, while Evan did his best to keep pace beside her. Suddenly, lightning flashed through the sky, illuminating a group of bounty hunters appearing in the distance. There they are, one shouted, pointing towards them. Go left, we can lose them, Zyla shouted, her grip on Evan tightening as they veered off the main path into the thickets of vibrant foliage. Evan followed her lead and quickly realized that the vibrant colors would create chaos for their pursuers. Can they track you? He asked, throwing a panic-laden glance over his shoulder. They can, but not if I can manipulate my energy, she replied with confidence, racing ahead to blend seamlessly amidst the vibrant flora. Despite the swirling anxiety, Evan's admiration for Zyla surged. Her resolve shone brighter than any star. Then let's show them what Zillans can do, he called back, suddenly fueled with courage as they darted into hidden alcoves. The rush of adrenaline pulsed through their veins, binding them together not just as explorer and alien, but as two warriors yearning to protect their newfound bond even amidst chaos and uncertainty. As they navigated the seemingly endless garden, Evan and Zyla ducked behind a massive plant glowing brilliantly in shades of green and blue, catching their breaths. The rustling of the hunters echoed through the air, and the atmosphere abruptly turned cold. Shivers ran down Evan's spine as fear clawed at him. "We can't keep running forever," Evan panted, glancing over at Zyla, whose shimmering skin was dancing with an array of colors, reflecting her anxiety and uncertainty. "What's the next move?" Zyla bit her lip, collecting her thoughts. "I can distract them. If I harness my energy to manipulate the light patterns around us, we might have a chance to confuse them." "What do you mean, distract?" Evan asked, a mix of intrigue and concern gripping his features. "I'll create illusions. Light bursts meant to direct them the opposite way," she explained. "But I need you to trust me completely. It's risky. They could catch you while I'm focused." A spark of admiration ignited within him, though fear still lingered at the edges of his resolve. "Zyla, you don't have to do this alone. I want to help too," he pleaded, not wanting her to face this challenge by herself. "This isn't about facing it alone. It's about confronting our fears, multi-layered as they are," she replied steadily. "For us to succeed, you must promise to stay hidden while I work." Evan considered her words. Their fates were entwined now. If he cared for Zyla, he had to put faith in her strength. "Fine, but you better come back to me," he said, forcing a smile even as trepidation grew within him. "I will," she promised, her voice dismissing self-doubt. Walking apart, Zyla positioned herself amidst an array of flowers like a tempest of light, closing her eyes to focus. He took a moment to appreciate her bravery, cotton candy hair glowing brightly against the green surrounding her. As the hunters neared his hiding spot, Evan's pulse quickened. Nerves scrambled as he suppressed sounds that threatened to escape his lips. Then, a furious burst of color illuminated the surroundings. Zyla's powers enveloped her, swirling in brilliant hues. Light flashed, creating dazzling projections of dancing creatures, flares of sparkling images designed to confuse. "Faster!" she cried into the thick foliage, utilizing her talents swiftly to guide their pursuers. Following her commands, pulsating light swirled out into an alluring spectacle. "Which way are they going?" one of the hunters shouted, utterly perplexed. "Over there!" another shouted, their eyes fixated on fleeting shadows darting through the colors, lost amidst the dazzling charm. Drawing closer, Evan caught Zyla's eye, a mix of thrill and focus reflected between them. It felt like a true dance woven in danger, two souls united by purpose amidst chaos. Just as the hunters fell for the trap, Evan watched Zyla push her energy even further, causing an explosive burst of light that left him breathless. The hunters, blinded, stumbled over roots and rocks, their curses echoing out into the night. Then, without hesitation, Zyla broke free, racing back toward Evan, a radiant grin lighting up her features. "We did it!" she hollered, excitement rippling through her colors. A flood of relief washed over him as their eyes locked once again. "You're amazing," he breathed, wound up in awe. "No, we did this together," she smiled, her ethereal light tinged with warmth. Against the chaos of their journey, they found a deep reassurance within. Facing fears brought inseparable strength and an unbreakable bond. With adrenaline coursing through their veins and the thrill of victory still palpable, Evan and Zyla navigated deeper into the alien flora, finding temporary refuge behind towering trees. But the burden of what lay ahead weighed heavily on them as they cautiously plotted their next move. "Do you think they're gone?" Evan whispered, glancing over his shoulder. "As long as we stay smart, we can evade them for now," Zyla replied, her violet eyes scanning the darkness, charged with both caution and the afterglow of their recent triumph. "Smart and clever, that's us," Evan joked, trying to mask the urgency in his voice. But the gravity of their situation lingered. Suddenly the sound of shouting echoed through the underbrush. "They're regrouping," Zyla said, her body tensing. "We've got to move." "Why don't we try and find help?" Evan suggested, recalling the lush village he had glimpsed earlier on his journey. "Nobody will side with a human," Zyla protested, regret lacing her words. Evan clenched his fists. "I can't let you face them all alone again. We'll find a way." Their eyes locked, and he could see the flicker of fear swirling just beneath her bravery. "Okay, let's go," she finally conceded, determination igniting her essence. Carefully, they moved through the thick vegetation, but the more they ran, the closer they felt the threat pursuing them. Before they reached the village, the figures of the bounty hunters emerged on the path before them, surrounding them like shadows closing in on prey. "Nowhere to run!" a sneering voice boomed, sending shivers through Evan as he felt Zila's grip tighten around his arm. "Surrender the technology, human," another demanded, "or suffer the consequences." Evan took a step back defensively. "You don't know what you're messing with," he bluffed, casting a worried glance at Zila. "I wouldn't underestimate us if I were you," she replied, her body emanating waves of glowing light, standing resolute beside him. "Enough of this," the lead hunter shouted. "Do as we command or we'll take you both." With no time to waste, Evan made a snap decision. "Zila, we need to signal the villagers. There should be allies nearby, people who can help." "They won't listen to a human," Zila cried. "Don't let them control you," he shot back, fiery determination igniting in his chest. He took a step toward the nearest hunter, readying himself as a protector. "We can't let them take you, Zila." Rallying her strength and magic, Zila summoned a blinding light that enveloped them. "On my mark," she commanded, and Evan could only nod, heart racing. With a sweeping motion, she released the energy, projecting it high into the sky. Brilliant waves rippled through the night, casting dawn-like colors across the landscape. The bounty hunters shielded their eyes, momentarily disoriented. Evan seized the chance. "Let's go." He grabbed Zila's hand and rushed onward, adrenaline driving their escape. Chaos erupted around them as villagers, drawn to the radiant signal, joined the fray. Zila's summons had called forth not only allies, but powerful reinforcements. "Get ready," Evan shouted, galloping forward with resolve. The village warriors emerged, armed and ready, backing them against the encroaching threats. "Who are these two?" one of the warriors shouted. "Why should we trust this human?" "Because he stands with us," Zila declared forcefully, summoning additional strength from the glowing aura surrounding her. "Together we will confront these predators. These bounty hunters will not take what's ours." The leader of the villagers echoed, his fierce presence bolstering confidence amidst the chaos. Steeling themselves, Evan looked at Zila, whose colors transformed, daring, luminous, and resolute. "Let's show them our strength," she exclaimed, locking eyes with him amid the turning tide. As the battle began, the air crackled with tension, intertwining chaos and exhilaration. The bounty hunters surged toward them, but the villagers' swift response countered the aggression, weaving a dance of combat amidst the ugly discord of violence. Evan fought valiantly beside Zila, inner fierceness taking root. They shielded each other, energy mixing as they repelled threats together, an unbreakable bond fortified through peril. "Now!" Zila shouted, commanding a burst of luminescent power that erupted into a colorful explosion. Light and sound danced around them, mixing with the ferocity of the fray, stunning the hunters, throwing them off balance. Through that chaotic torrent, Evan felt a flash of clarity, a surge of unyielding determination to protect what mattered most. He could no longer deny their connection. It had become part of him, guiding his every choice. As smoke and light mingled through the chaos, he fought harder, knowing that this battle wasn't just about survival, but about building a future alongside Zila and their emerging love sparked through adversity. The tides of fate had turned. Now, together, they'd carve their story into the stars, unyielding and alive amid the clash of worlds. The battle raged fiercely, but resolved swiftly, the bounty hunters overwhelmed by the tide of united villagers and the powerful connection between Evan and Zila. With teamwork and determination, the bounty hunters retreated, flames of their defeat burning through the remnants of their once threatening presence. Panting for breath and lingering amidst the aftershock, Evan and Zila stood side by side, allowing relief to wash over them. "We did it," Zila gasped, her vibrant skin still flickering with remnants of energy. "Together," Evan replied, grinning at the ferocity of victory that coursed through him. Gazing into her eyes, he noticed something profound had changed between them. A deeper trust, solidified through the tribulations they had faced. "You were incredible out there," he praised, heart racing. "I couldn't have done it without you," she replied sincerely, wrapping her arms around him, her touch electrifying. "You inspired me." In that moment, he felt the overwhelming weight transform into buoyancy. an assurance that they could navigate every storm facing them together. Surrounded by warmth and laughter from the villagers, they could breathe freely. An elder approached, the wisdom of the village etched upon sun-kissed features. "You've proven your courage and worth," he spoke, encouraging admiration from the crowd. "You both are welcome here. A blending of your worlds may just yield great wonders." Evan and Zyla exchanged glances, hope blossoming anew as promises for tomorrow ignited in their hearts. Weeks passed, new trees flourished, and bonds deepened as Evan and Zyla thrived in each other's worlds. The villagers embraced Evan warmly, welcoming him with rituals of unity and adventure that merged their cultures together. Their days were now filled with laughter, daring escapades of exploration, as Zyla played dual roles as his guide and beloved, introducing him to the wonders of her planet while he shared stories and technology from Earth. One evening, as the twin moons cast illuminating silvery rays over their gathering, Evan turned the conversation into something heartfelt. "Zyla," he began, and she looked up from the gathering fire, curiosity etched on her mesmerizing features. "Yeah? Does this mean we can be more than just friends?" he asked, his voice ever so soft. She beamed, radiance compelling as colors danced vividly along her skin. "I've never been more ready for that challenge, human." "Consider it a partnership, then. I'm in it for the long haul," Evan declared, the warmth of connection swirling around them. With laughter and joy, they stepped into a future built not just on love, but a fearless adventure that melded their realities. In the magic of those twinkling nights, they continued to explore the galaxy, two souls learning from one another, dancing beneath the stars, finding peace, joy, and ultimately, home in each other's hearts. With promise and passion, they knew the universe could be theirs, together transcending boundaries and building a new horizon, hand in hand.